All right, we are live for the 130th episode of the Let's Go podcast, the long awaited power rankings. I have been borderline harassed for these power rankings by a lot of players, rightfully so. They're invested, they love it. We are once again joined by Jeff for the second consecutive power ranking podcast. We appreciate Jeff coming on. It's always good, and he's just rocking the Magan David, the Mug and David necklace. I like it. It's always good having another perspective on for the power rankings. As you know, as a commissioner, I have an outside view, but Jeff has that funny role where he's an employee, but also an unpaid volunteer employee, and we appreciate him for that. But he's also a player in the league, so having him sort of give his own perspective on both tiers, which he has teams in, I think is really helpful. So we're gonna run through it. We'll start in tier two, but before we start, Jeff, any general thoughts? Any thoughts on how the league's been going so far? We're really officially at the halfway point right now.
I mean, this season, I think it's been one of the most exciting seasons. It hasn't been as top heavy in tier two this season. I've seen like last season, everybody kind of knew Barbacoa was going to run away, and I think what we've seen over the last couple of weeks with Clutch and Addictive and even Gordon Companies and a healthy Oath Bank team, any one of these six teams can really win on any given night, with Misery included and Biggie Meats. And then in tier one, it's not going to be just the Rise to Fly show. As we saw this last week, Navas Wigs had one of the greatest games I've ever seen in my life. That was just totally epic. And what to do without Elad was incredible. Imagine if Elad played.
That was I was telling guys last night that Nava Wake Fly Viper game. There's not a lot of regular season games where like when you're in the gym and you feel nervous, even though you're not rooting for a team. You just feel like the thickness, like I felt that during the game, and it was like the fourth game of the regular season. Now, granted, it was a championship rematch, but like I can't explain it. It's like that feeling of like you're feeling very
It,
stiff.
it, it felt like it felt like a big fight type of night. You know what I mean? It felt like it had a big game feel to it.
Yeah,
And especially lifting again, no Elad, and Nava still was able to pull it out, which was really impressive. I think that Vilay, they used their size a lot. I think they just ran out of gas. Nava has this second gear. They know how to turn it on. They do it every game. They're never out of a game. They could be down 10-15, and they're going to come
yeah.
running back.
And until you see Matt in person, like even last night, I was talking with the great, Ivry and the Dubin brothers after they barely won against Twillery. We could get into that. I wasn't there for the game. I got there at the end, but they won by like 12 points. Apparently, they played horribly, but they still won. They were telling me like, how is this guy Matt dominating? Like he's so like he's a good shot, but like he's not like the fastest guy. He's not like super tall. He might be strong. Like how is he putting up 25 to 35 points and getting 8 9 assists every game? I said you got to watch it to see. I said he
Mm.
maneuvers so well at the ball. He knows what he's doing. Knows that he uses his body so well. So I said you got to see it. But he's a fantastic. And you add him to Lior and like Marcel was like a nobody in that game, and he's a great player. A lot didn't play.
Nobody. Marcel scored 19 that game. That was not nobody.
He was such an, but it was like he was so low key. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like if you ask who played well in the game, you would think of Matt, you would think of Jacob's putback, you would think of Lior's defense in the second half versus
Yeah.
that new kid on Dylan Calvin's team. We
Yeah,
got a
absolutely.
visitor. We got a visitor.
Sorry, we got to have a little special guest.
What a cutie! Oh man, hi. Can you say hi?
But yeah, I definitely hear that. But that novice team, they're very good. But they run six men deep. Really solid ball play, and they're nice guys. That you can't ask for much. You agree with that?
Correct. I think he agrees. All right, let's get into the power rankings. Let's go. We're 5 minutes into the podcast. Let's start in tier two. Tier two at number 12, and although they had a big win and they added one new player from this new sub rule, day three, I still have a number 12 as of now. They did get a big win. They beat TJB Deals, who's now at 1-4. But until I see it for myself, I'm not moving them out of the 12 in the power rankings. They lost, the first three games of the season. They finally had their first win to go to 1-3. I will still have them number 12 until I see with my own eyes because I'm a believer in what I see. I know, Jeff, you played a role in helping them get this last guy into the roster with do that sub rule, and you think he's a solid player that'll help them, right?
Aiden Arbiv. He's a very good ball player. He's from my community. He's a solid guy. He's a little shorter. He's kind of like Ariel Israelov and Jesse. He's a little shorter, very shifty, can shoot. Good ball player who'll definitely help them get better. I know that they were struggling, and Josh reached out. He's like, "Listen, I need help." and I kind of sent Aiden their way.
Right. Okay.
Solid ball player, good kid, no ego. That's kind of what you need. But day 3 at 12, I don't see them being higher than that, unfortunately. Despite the win, I'd heard that TJB also was missing a bunch of guys.
Yeah, they were. That's why I put them at. That's why I kept them.
Yeah, but I think 12 is exactly where they need to be.
Speaking of TJB, TJB deals coming at 11 again, 1-4. Even I'll get through it, but even the tier two, like even the 9, 8 through 12 teams, the top 8 spots make it. They all have one win. So like every single team is still alive, which I love to see 4 or 5 games into the season. So TJB deals 1-4. They lost to a couple of tough teams in All Bank, go to Bisery. They lost to Crown Care, the only, one of the only 2 games that Remy Zagelbaum was there. They beat TGB by 15. Crown Care is a different team with Zagelbaum down low. So they're 1-4 coming in at 11. I think that makes sense. Again, when they have their full team and they play well, you saw they definitely could compete. They had that massive comeback win against Mava Capital.
Nava.
Huge
Yes.
24-point deficit, came back and won. So huge win. Coming in number 10 is Mava. Although they did come back and beat Mava, I do think Mava overall is a better team. I think it was an utter collapse from Mava's perspective. I think Mava has some emotional issues they need to work out, some mental issues, some in-game, just keeping focus. But I do think overall talent-wise, Mava is a better team than TJB. I think they're of course better than day 3. They're also 1-4, but I had them at number 10. Any thoughts, Jeff?
I think Malva is a very good team. Their only issue is that they don't have a true point guard to get their big men the ball. Lizov is their best player. He's a scorer, and you always see that they're getting frustrated with each other, and it's just a constant thing with them. And I like the guys. I know the guys. We play ball together at the Y some mornings. They need to get a point guard that could just facilitate the ball. Yuri shouldn't be the one running the ball up, or the rest of the guys that have these big men that they have should not be running the ball. I think their offense needs to flow through Ellie,
Yeah.
and when they finally buy into that, I think that then they could be a little bit higher than 10. But at 10, I think they're completely fair right now.
I completely agree with you. Coming in at number 9, I have KGM Mixology coming in at 1-3 now. Of course, our boy Libby Kagan, who was in the building a couple of games ago. We hope to see him more often. KGN's been the bearer of bad luck, I would say. Yes, they only have one win. Last night they lost extremely sloppy game to All Bank by 2 points or 3 points. Could have gone either way. Both teams played terribly. One thing KGN has, with Jeff, you pointed out, I think last week, is, or maybe that wasn't you. Somebody pointed it out. They have amazing defense. Shlomo Zakai, he's 5'8". The guy's one of the best on-ball one-on-one defenders Tier 2 has. He's unbelievable to watch him play defense. It's amazing. The team overall is they're letting up an average of like 42 to 44 points a game, but they don't score. They rely very much on their three. When their three's not falling, they're not going to win. They're not going to score points. They're playing against you guys tonight, Jeff. It's their toughest matchup by far all season. After this game, actually, their final 3 games are against the bottom 3 teams. It's against Day 3, TJB, and Mava. So even though they are currently 1-3 and most likely going to be 1-4 tonight, they still have a very good chance of making the playoffs. But again, they lost to Clutch Auto Trade, who's one of the top teams, 45-37. They lost to Barbacoa, 73-63. They're up by 18 in that game. They lost Addictive Receipts by 8 points the other last week. So they've so far played. They're going to be playing 5 games. 4 of those 5 games we'll see are the top 5 teams so far in Tier 2. So they've had by far the most difficult schedule in Tier 2. They're 1-3, going to be playing tonight against you guys, and that's why I think it makes sense to have them at 9. I think they could easily finish the season, even with losing tonight 1-4. I think they could easily finish the season at 4-4.
Are you sure they're 9? Because I thought they were guaranteed a championship.
That's what happens
Respectfully, look,
when
they're
you
a
win your
good team.
when you win your first game. Teams get excited.
They're a good team. I watched their game against Barbacoa, where I think they just came out firing. I think they hit
Yeah, that's what they're going
7
to
out
do.
of their first 9 threes, and once the three stopped dropping, Barbacoa completely steamrolled them. So I think at 9, I think you said they were. It's
Yeah,
fair. I
yeah,
do think they would lose to a team like Mava just based off of Mava's size, or even TJB Deals, because TJB Deals also has a pretty big team.
right. That's true.
But yeah, they need to improve on a couple of things, especially offensive. You can't win in this league scoring 32 points per
No,
game.
no, 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 never. It was the lowest total
They
score we've ever had in
they
Tier
can
2 last night.
they can single handedly get outscored by some of these players in the league.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll get into that very, very shortly. But I guess a little bit of my consideration was they're 1-3. They'll probably be 1-4 after tonight. If I told them last night, I said if you guys beat Big E's meets tonight, I said even though you are missing a couple of guys, I know I still believe would be the biggest upset in not only Tier 2 history, but in HSL history. I believe it if they could beat you guys tonight. So the pressure's on for you guys, Jeff.
Thanks.
But even if they lose tonight at 1-4, they have a legitimate shot because again, that means their first 5 games they would. You'll see. We'll go through in a second. They would have played the top 5 teams, or sorry, 4 of those 5, the top 4 ranked teams in the league. So they've had the hardest schedule. So we'll see what happens. Coming in number 8, we have Crown Care, also at 1-4. To be fair, Crown Care has been missed Avrami Zagelbaum for 3 of their 5 games. I think with Avrami, they're a totally different team. It gives them an inside presence. It allows guys like, it allows guys like Shalom Prager and Jeremy Tabak and Blisco who have outside shots to create more space with the inside game of Avrami. They also get killed on the boards without Avrami, even though Donnie Freed is big, but Donnie and Avrami together makes them a legitimate inside game. They've also had a pretty decently tough schedule. They played Clutch Auto Trade. They played Biggie Meat. So again, they played 2 of the top teams in the league already. Coming in at 1-4, it is very dangerous sledding for Crown Care, but they do have vets, you call it, and assuming now that Avrami's engaged and had his Avard and everything out of the way, at least until his wedding gets close, he'll probably be available for the next few games. It's gonna be, they're basically in must-win territory, but I do think they still at 1-4, with all these teams having only one win, have a legitimate shot, and they're currently sitting in the last spot in the playoffs right now.
And Crown Care, I love the guys, and they're such good kids, and they never seem out of the game. Even like they played such a messy game against Alt Bank last week, and they were right there, down 2 with under a minute to go. They make a lot of mental mistakes towards the end of the games. They don't call the timeout, or they're down 1 and they'll force a bad 3. It's a lot of mental mistakes in them. They don't adjust as well as they should, and I think I've spoken to Blisco about this, but it is what it is. They're doing well.
Yeah, we'll
They're
see.
going to be okay, I think.
I'm not sure who their final 3 games are against. I know they're definitely playing against Wabizuri, because I'm trying to move around
I
there.
think they're playing with Misery, Gordon Companies,
I'm not sure
I
they're
don't know, maybe Barbacoa. It's,
Okay, but so it's definitely not an easy schedule. But they got 3 win. I think 3 wins will guarantee you a top 8 seed. 2 wins will be
Mhm.
very very iffy. I don't know if there are a lot of teams with 1 win right now. So and there's still 3 games left. So I don't know if 2 wins will get it for you. But 3 wins should guarantee a top 8 seed. And they're sitting at 8 right now, so they control their own destiny in a sense. Coming in number 7, we have Barbacoa. Barbacoa, of course, our champions from last year. I had them at 2 to begin the season, at 3 to be out of respect. They've been slowly dropping, but their record's been slowly, is solid. They're 2-2. They're 2-2. They beat KGN after being down 20 early. They beat Day 3, which was a must-win game for them, and they lost to you guys, Jeff. They hung around for parts of the game. They lost to Abizri. They also hung around for that game for a while. It seems like they just lose gas in the second half. They're pretty close in the first half. They keep up pace. And another big thing with Barbacoa, which we get into, is with again the one replacement rule. There was one player on their roster who was very talented who just decided not to play anymore, and because of the replacement rule, they now are able to get Moshe Khalili to replace this other guy on their roster. So the question is, how do we think that will help Barbacoa, and does that make them a legitimate contender?
My son said yes, that makes them more legitimate. I think 7 is a little low. We played against them. They have this thing about them where they play pretty solid defense and they force you into some bad shots. Their issue was you can't just be the Ibrahimi show. So I think Moshe Khalili definitely helps them, adds a little bit of extra dynamic to their offense. And not even off defensively. He's now one of their taller players and he helps
Jeff,
them a
I need
lot.
I need I need you to talk on it for 30 seconds so I can get a plug so my thing doesn't die. Just talk to the
You
talk.
got it. So I'm gonna talk for 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
But definitely Khalili helps them. Ibrahimi is a very good scorer. I spoke to a couple of the guys. Mordechai is a nice guy, nice little player. They have this kid Brian that shows up. When he shows up, they're a very solid team. On a good night, I truly believe that they could probably hang around and beat anybody. And again, they were right there with us. Granted, we were missing Ariel, and with the new sub rules, a lot of teams just got a lot better. So again, Barbacoa is 7. I think they'll be climbing up the ladder. Like I said earlier this year, when you put I think Clutch at 9, and I said Clutch is very low, I think they're gonna definitely skyrocket up.
I agree with that. I think there's a lot of potential. I think Barbacoa sort of they might have got it. They might have got in my head with how bad they said they would be this season. They were talking such
Mhm.
trash about themselves. I never seen a team talk such trash about themselves. The way
I'll tell you what they have, Barbacoa:
what do they have
chemistry.
playing?
Chemistry. They have chemistry. These are some of their best friends. All of them play together. And they actually like each other, which is a big thing when you're playing. And I feel like it's more in tier 2 where the guys actually get along. I feel that the chemistry on the tier two teams is better than the tier one teams in terms of chemistry. I think because I think in tier two guys are more playing with their friends. In tier one, Dylan Kaufman, God bless the guy, great guy. He's just trying to put talent on there. Outside of Jack and Noah, these guys don't really know each other. You look at a team like who else is there? Twillery, these guys don't know each other. Seremian was a team that was just thrown together. What's gonna happen when they're going against tough? Rise to Fly, they're friends. You've got Navas, they're friends. Silver Key is friends. MS Motors, these guys are all friends. The top teams are all basically best
Last night,
friends.
Jeff, I saw MS Motors play. They looked really good. They looked really. It was their
Who would
best
they
team.
play against?
They didn't play. I mean, they didn't play against a crazy tough team. They played against they played against Fine Lines, who's stuck around for the first half and for the beginning of the second. But like once they started picking it up, like they are really tough. They had their best team there. They had everyone there.
I got to make just a quick drop, a little breaking news. Ariel Israelov just texted me.
Yeah.
He will probably be in tonight.
My God, the line started at 1.5, went to 5.5. Now it's at 10.5. So they keep on going up and up and up. Oh, poor KGM Mixology. I feel bad. Also, this is KGN's third game in 5 days, so they're like absolutely
Oh, we're
toast up today.
we're gonna be there too. We got one tonight, one Wednesday, one Sunday,
Oh,
and
right,
Sunday we
you're
got
starting.
bloodbaths coming. We got
Yeah,
Mava
yeah.
and Webizery coming up
you're
too.
Yeah, that's a big game. We got to figure out what to do about that gym. We still haven't done anything about it. Yeah, that's you're starting your 3 games or ending it. So this is a recipe for absolute disaster for KGM. But you never know in the HSL what could happen. Number 6, we have Altbank. Now Altbank's 3-1. Good for them. I said it in the interview last night, which I'll post soon. Wins are wins. Their last 2 games, they played
Lopiest.
arguably one of the two of the worst performances I've seen from Tier 2 all season. However, the teams they happened to play against those 2 games played even worse. Should they be 3-1? Do they deserve to be 3-1 based on on their talent? No, but they won the games and they're still 3-1. Kia is a great player. By the way, forget Kia's offense. By the way, Kia almost dunked the ball. I have a video of it. Last night they played a tight game against KGN. KGN had it down by 3. 10 seconds to go. Kia stole the ball, drove to the hoop, got super high in the air, was at the rim, and lost the ball right at the rim. On video, it looks like he dunked it. I actually was caught saying, dunks it or whatever, or puts it in, but the ball just slipped out of his hand and slipped right next to the basket. But Kia's a freak athlete, great player, but defensively. And then you have all their rebounders. They have a very well-rounded team. They might not
Michael,
have that.
Nathan,
Yeah,
Isaac. Yeah,
they might not have that one like legitimate stud, which is why I don't think they're going to win the championship. But I think
I think Kia is their stud. I think Kia is a rare case. It's so funny because Kia is one of those rare players that would be better in tier one.
yeah,
Like
I
it's
I
so
agree with
interesting.
you.
'Cause I've seen
In an
him play for
offense,
Seremian
in an
and
offense.
an offense. Like I've seen him play in Seremian against MS Motors. I'm like, dude, he looks better as the players get better around him. It's so
I'll
interesting.
tell you also with Kia, the more you provoke him, the more upset he gets, the better he plays. And it's not that common with players. Like in the beginning of the game, he was missing his shots. Then the game got a little chippy. It was like a 27-25 game with 5 minutes left. It was getting physical, and he started getting like all like aggravated with the refs. Why don't you call this, whatever? And all of a sudden, he hits these fadeaway bank shots, deep three, steals the ball. Like he just
Love
gets
that kid.
sort of he just turns it up as he gets frustrated. It was a big win. They're 3, like I said, not pretty, but they're still 3-1. I think 6 makes sense for them.
It's
They're
really
right
funny.
there.
Yeah, I think Avi, you have probably the best Bukharian talent in your league, by the way.
Well, these guys are good players. These guys are very good players. I really enjoy having them. And most of them are nice guys also. Almost all of them. They're all really good guys. And, Bukharians have a mixed rap, in the community. But, like, the guys I ran into, awesome guys, good guys, caring guys, generous guys. So we're very
Thank you.
happy of course. So we're very happy to have them in our HL community. We were schmoozing last night for like 15 minutes after the game until my boy, the security guard, comes down and starts smiling and like trying to hit us. He's too nice to actually go, but like smile, hit like, all right, guys, it's 11:50, I gotta get home. But it was a good time, good schmoozing. They have a fun, nice team, and I like them a lot. 5, and coming in at 5, and I actually before last night's game I had them at 4, but I had to do a flip flop because they played each other. Gordon Companies now 2-2. Arguably could also be behind Altbank. I didn't see the game with my own eyes. I hate moving teams down in the rankings, but I don't see games with my own eyes. But I arrived like an hour after the game ended. From what I heard, it was an absolute wallop of addictive receipts. Absolutely crushed them. Moshe Kraft had 20 something points, but the story of that game, and I am forgetting his name, which is
It's
bad.
Tuvi or something or something.
I go look it up. Let me pull up the interview here quickly. He is the story of the HSL Tier 2 right now. Him and Jake Lichtman are the stories. He had an unbelievable game. I think he had 37 points, setting the record. And I have to find the name because what a
Who
game.
broke the? What was the previous record?
It was your boy at 36.
Ah, overlooked. Boy, poor Danny Cohen.
Yeah,
There's
poor Danny
one
Cohen.
bad game
And
and the league forgets
it
about him.
wasn't even caught on video. I wasn't even there to catch it on video, but we have the stat sheet. 37 points. Let me pull up the interview right here. I better get it, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble.
It's his name is Tuvia, I think. Tivia, something
Yeah,
along
Vox.
those lines.
Toby Vox.
Yeah.
Shorter guy, nonchalant. You wouldn't. Somebody said last night, it was a great line. He's like, this guy is the epitome of a legitimate tier 2 player. You know, he's not big. He's like 5'9". He's not super strong, but he's a great jump shot. He plays really. In tier 1, with bigger bodies, it'll be much harder for him to create space. But in tier 2, when you're dealing with a little bit smaller size in general, just had a wicked game. He had 31 points the game before. Now he comes to the 37th spot. He's right there at Jake Lichtman now that he played 3 games so far. He played 3 of the 5 games. The tier 2 MVP running. Danny Cohen's up there also, even though his last couple of games has been hurt and banged up. But, they're a scary team, a very scary team. But Gordon Companies, they started off quick and fast. They have great shooters. They have great size. The question is again, from what I heard, they yell at each other, go back and forth. If that emotional piece will play a role. But I do think they're very talented, and I think 2-2 is fair and coming in at the 5 in the power.
All right, that sounds fair. I think 5 is. You could swap them in Old Bank. I don't think it would change much.
Right. I think addictive receipts I have at 4. Kraft said he put addictive receipts at 2, and it's not even close. He was like going all at me because I was probably hyped up after his win. So you don't understand. We're so talented between Skate and me and Vox. He's like, there's no way you could put us out of the top. Out of the top 2. I'm like, who are you gonna drop? You're gonna drop Biggie Meats. You're gonna drop Wabizri. He's like, yeah, drop Wabizri. We'll see. They did. They did. They beat Mava, they beat Day 3, they beat KG. They didn't have any massive, massive wins.
They haven't had to play the top 3 teams.
Right. So as much as they've been very impressive, they're 4-1, they're right there, but they haven't really had such a tough schedule. So it's hard for me to put them higher than.
And I'm guessing we're gonna go look at 4. I think what do we have? Addictive at 4.
Addictus 4, yeah. So
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you know what? It's not a knock on them. It's just a respect shown to Clutch, with Misery and Big E.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's not a knock. You could go either way with them.
yeah.
Like
And
you could.
here's a little bit of a not really a hot take because they got blown out by Clutch. They lost by 15. Well, Bisbee comes in at number 3 at 3-1. They were missing a player, a very good
Their
player.
best player.
Their best player. Yeah, probably their best player. But they did lose by 16, and Jake Lichtman's been an absolute on fire this season. The Buchbinder brothers, fantastic players, of course, Goldfarb, and the rest. Yehuda Zinn, clutch 3-point shooter. Ariel Malol, he should be getting more minutes. I'm gonna say it on here because on this podcast we could say what we want. Josh Zinn, if you're watching, Ariel Malol,
He's watching.
3-point machine and a defender. What happens is Malol checks in the game for 5 minutes, hits 3 threes, gets 2 steals, and comes out. It reminds me of someone else in this podcast. But, I think you got to give him a chance. I understand he's smaller in size and maybe he's a little bit of a liability on defense when he gets switched on to a bigger man. But it's the same thing with him every game. Comes in for 5 minutes in the first half. It's 3 threes, gets 2 steals, comes out. Comes in for 7 minutes in the second half. It's 3 threes, 2 steals, comes out. So especially once a guy gets on a heater, he doesn't miss. He's a great player. He's also he's a vet. He's knowledgeable. He's been a basketball junkie for years. I think he's a very good piece that they're underutilizing a little bit, but I can't really hate too much because at the end of the day,
They're 4-1.
you're 4-1. With Bizri, Ben Roberts, great captain, great team. They're missing their best player. They're 3-2 now. 3-1 now.
3-1.
So coming in at 3, I have Clutch at 2, which I think makes sense. And then of course at 1, I'm still gonna have Biggie Meats. Who you guys are 3-0, right? Looking to go 4-0 tonight. So I'm not gonna drop Biggie Meats out of their spot until they ever lose a game, which I don't know if they will all season. We'll see. But I think that makes sense, Jeff. Any thoughts before we move on to tier 1?
I mean, we also got to look. I just want to talk about these tier 2 subs that came in. I know a lot of teams added some different players this week. I know that Ben Roberts added Nate Ilyabayev. I heard he's a very good rebounder. He's a good, solid player.
Yeah, he is. He had
Uh,
a solid game. I think he had 8 points and maybe 7 rebounds or 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds, I think it was when he played his last game.
I think the league doesn't know that we actually had to replace Joey my brother this week also with Josh Keiko from
Yes, yes.
one, another good
So
ball
so
player. I know
sad. I never got to watch Joey play, Jeff. I was so excited.
next season when he moves to Queens, he's gonna commit.
Oh, he's gonna move to Queens. He's moving to Queens. That's the
Yeah,
plan. Oh, okay,
yeah,
good.
that's the plan. He's in Flappers right now, so when he moves here, he'll play.
Got it.
But
Got it.
I think you're pretty much safe. I think it's a good call, 1 through 12. I don't see much. Maybe you could swap Alt Bank. What did we say? Who was Alt Bank and
Addicted
Gordon
Receipts
Companies?
and Gordon Companies, all bank. They're all 4, 5, 6. They're very, very close to each.
I think we take the receipts at 4-1. I'll give Moshe Kraft a little bit of I'll give him a little bit of clout.
All right, fine. So I think we were pretty good. I think it makes sense. Tier one's also very interesting. Let's get right into it. At 12, we have Twillery. Of course, their only win came from the forfeit win. The three losses came, against Vly, where they're absolutely blown out, against Silver Key, where they're absolutely blown out, and then they played against. They played. Oh, actually, they're 1-4 now. Sorry, because they lost to Ceramian, and they lost last night. I didn't update it on the sheet here.
No, the Cerimian they won via forfeit.
Oh, sorry, they won via forfeit, so they are 1-3, and then they lost to they lost last
Vlai,
night.
Silver Key, and to
Store. I wasn't there
Gucci.
last night. I don't know how it played out. I know they lost by 12. Kosey told me that it was close most game. Cheese Store claims they played horrifically. They do have a couple of solid players. AB Low, obviously. They're not dysfunctional. I just don't think they're. I don't think they have
The
the talent.
talent's not there. They respectfully they did not belong in tier one.
Right? Yeah, I hear. I hear. It's going to happen when you have 12 teams in each league. You're going to have teams that just are going to fall out of it. Now, listen, they are 1-3. A win is a win. Doesn't matter if it comes from a forfeit or from a 90-point win. If they wake up and they practice and they somehow do something, like they're only a game out of the 8 seed right now. There's 4 games to go, so no one's out of it. They shouldn't.
I just don't see it for them,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Just
I
because
don't.
we played against them and like there was just such a divide. There was such a difference between us and them.
Right.
I don't know if you were at the game. Our guys are watching the Knicks game
Yeah,
during the
I was
game.
there. I was there.
It was just like it was an uninteresting game for us.
Yeah, tonight they're playing Nava Wigs. How do you think that's gonna?
I put the line at minus 24 or something.
Is that what you did? I missed that.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
Oh gosh, unless AB Low puts a 60 piece on everybody and doesn't miss a
It
beat.
might it might not be enough.
All right, well, coming in at
But
number 11, we have Michel Chrome Music. Now, they're a weird team because they are a pretty talented team. They have roster issues, but they are talented. They're 1-4. They lost to J&Z on opening night. That was a big one that shook up the league from the beginning. They lost by 50 to Rise to Fly. They lost to Fine Lines, which was a bad loss that you never want to see. They lost to MS Motors, but they were very, very
they
close.
beat MS Motors.
Sorry, they beat MS Motors, but it was very, very close. And then
Well, they
they
were well coached in that MS Motors game.
They were allowed coached by Jeff, and now they're 1-4. So like, I think they're very talented, but like, they're 1-4, and they're on the precipice of losing another 2 games. You're probably going to be eliminated. I don't see how I could put them higher. The only team I could potentially put them ahead of is the number 10 team that is also 1-4 in Holy Schnitzel. But again, one of their 4 losses came via forfeit. So I guess that was my little tiebreaker there. But I guess you could give your thoughts on the 11-10 debate.
It really hurts because Michel Krohn is such a talented team.
Hey,
They're good at every position.
yeah,
It's just there's something about it where they come at you strong and then they just disappear in the second half and they don't want to move the ball. You know, poor time management where they're up 7 or 8 against MS Motors and they're still trying to run it down and shoot threes. Like slow the game down. You have timeouts. They don't want to use their timeouts. It's just a very big mental thing where they don't have somebody on their team who could just say, "Hey, let's call the timeout. Why are we taking 2 timeouts in the second half? Why are we taking these bad shots? Why are we not feeding Ezra Kolsky more?" Like these are things that
right.
they just like Ezra will hit three threes and they look him off or
Ezra scores more in tier one than he does in tier two. He's gotta get the ball more. He's his
yeah,
confidence. His confidence levels through the roof in tier one.
yeah, like Zico and guy great ball player. Sometimes he's moving the ball or sometimes he's going with tunnel vision. That Elior, same thing.
Oh yeah.
They have this tunnel vision and they're so good. They're all individually so talented, and it hurts to put them at 11. Can we put them at 10?
That's what I was gonna ask you. Holy schnitzel! They're 1-4. One of the losses came to via forfeit. They had they blew out Fine Lions. Again, I wasn't there for that game, but if they had their normal roster, it's still an impressive win, whether you look at it or not. They're won by almost 30 against them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, again, I don't really know so much about the team. I know. I mean, I watched them play. I'm not familiar with any of them. Like I don't know. Like I'm not sure. So
They're feisty. They're a feisty team. They're very feisty. I think that Michel Krohn definitely has more talent than they do. I think Michel Krohn has a lot more talent than most of these teams.
yes,
But again, it just the talent has to come together. With Holy Schnitzel, their issue is that they're all in the Army League, so a lot of them are coming off of a game, coming to this game, or they're
right.
not sure with the schedule. And every week, they're bringing a different 5 6 guys from their roster, and you can't win like that.
No, not an
Not in
HSL
this
tier
league.
one.
Not
Not
in
an
this league.
HSL tier one. No way. Number nine, I have Fine Lines. 1-4 now after losing. Also, a lot of 1-4 teams in tier one at the bottom. Again, another team. They got the Jewish. They call him the Jewish Porzingis, the Jewish Chet Holmgren, whatever you want to call him. He's a great player. His brother's a solid player. They have a very solid team. They've just also had a very tough schedule. They lost the Silver Key. They lost the Rights to Fly. The Holy Schnitzel game I wasn't there for. I don't know how they lost by 30 points, but I guess props to Holy Schnitzel on that. And then they beat Michelkor Music, and then last night they lost to Abizada. So they played arguably three of the top five teams in Tier One. So definitely had a harder schedule, and I think they have an easier. I think they're still playing Twillery coming up. They're playing Michelkor Music coming up. So they have a softer back end of the schedule, but at 1-4, I have them at number nine.
It's so I wasn't at the game when they played against us. I know that Mike reached out to me after the game and he said, "Yo, Jeff, they're 0-3. They're way better than 0-3." He goes, they were. He said that they're a very tough team. That he doesn't know how they were 0-3, but you know what? Again, they're a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs because I don't know what the guy's name is. The
I think I got a little bit of insight last night as I was there. I was actually had a very good vision. Baruch Hashem, starting tonight, the AC in Hartor is going to be allowed to be pumped all the way high. I remember,
yeah,
Jeff, your first ever game in HSL, the floor started getting all moist. So I started last night because remember, this week was the first week in months where it's warm outside. The wall in the back of Hartor gym started getting wet and it would drip down. And behind the basket, the back basket, not the opposite side of the door, it was soaking wet. So I had to stand back there and just with the mop and just keep on drying it up, and it would like sort of seep right under the basket, and like even onto the court a little. So the whole night, first for 2 games, I was doing it. Then I was tired of it. I said, "Kolsky, you do it the last 2 games." So thank God we got the approval for today. They're able to put the AC on to extra high for today. So hopefully there won't be any moist issues on the floor. It wasn't an issue before because it's been freezing outside. Once it gets warm, it started the texture starts getting wet on the ground, seeps in from the walls. So hopefully it won't be an issue. But anyways, I had a very good view of the game, and I think I have a little insight as to why Fine Lines is 1-4. And I think the reason is they're very 3 point happy, very, and they have some shooters who are really good. But like in the second half last night, they must have shot like 2 for 20 from 3 point land. Very 3 point
Mhm.
happy. When they can hit a three, I think they go 4 or 5 minutes scoring 2 points, and against the better teams, they're toast, and that's where they
Yeah.
and that, at least last night, that's where MS Motors pulled away.
Yeah. We got number 8 now, right?
Yeah, we're at number eight, and number eight I have J and Z. They're kids, they're fast, they're young. It's a tough spot for them, but again, they're the top teams in Tier One are so talented. It's hard for me to really put them any higher. You'll see in a second. J and Z they beat the Cheese Store. Credit to them, who I'm going to actually have ahead of them. They lost to Nava Wigs, they lost to Silver Key, and they beat Michel Core Music. So they've had a very decently tough schedule. They aren't so big inside. They have a couple of banged up players. They do have a couple of legit players. Kestetner is very good, very underrated. They have another guy. I'm forgetting his name. Blonde hair.
Ephraim Abramov. They have Reuven.
Niazov, and they have a blonde hair kid who's another
Yeah.
great player. Young
Noah.
guys.
Noah. Also, Noah, their captain, not a bad ball player. It's a good ball
Barsky's
player.
great. Nona Barsky's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, he's great. He's great. They all hustle. They run. They have energy. They have good shoot. They have good shots. Again, they're younger. They're smaller. And you'll see again the top seven teams. I just think are just bad. I don't think that. I think once you're at eight already, every team is very, very talented.
I think you could put them over the cheese store.
Okay.
Their energy level is so high. The Jay Z Couture team, they run and they just go. They have. No, I think I was there when they played. They beat the cheese store, and then they played Rides to Fly right after, and they were in the game at the half. Like I don't care. I know Rides to Fly saying, "Oh, we didn't even try. It was a scrimmage. We didn't care." At the end of the day, you're playing basketball. You're playing hard, and these kids were right there. They finally ran out of guys,
Yeah, in the second half after playing for
and they only came
50.
with 5 guys.
Yeah, crazy, crazy. So all right, so we have the cheese store at seven. You think it could be flip flopped? It could be. You're right.
That 8-7 game will be fun if they can play each other.
It will be fun. It will be fun. The cheese store is 2-2, so that was a very big win for them.
Yeah.
All right, top six. And this is where things get very, very tricky. And I know there's a lot of talk now behind the Ceramian financial team, how they've, rebuilt themselves in the middle of the season because of the team we needed, and they do have a fantastically talented team. However, until I see more of them, and yes, the game I saw, they played really well. They looked very dangerous. I'm still gonna have to stick them at 6. They are still 2-2 at the end of the day, even though the 2 losses they had were not with their regular team. It was
It was
forfeit.
forfeits.
But until I see more of them, I'm gonna have to keep them here. The talent, the other team's talents are just way too they're just way too high
That's fair.
for me to put them any higher.
That's fair.
All right, so I think we're good on that. We'll see how it progresses. Coming number 5, and um, as much as I'm a believer in this team, and I think they're very talented, and they just added a legitimate scoring stud, I still have to put the Fly Vipers at 5. I know
Wow.
it's a big drop. Um, there's just so much talent in the league that I just don't I don't see how I could put them ahead of 5. The only team I can put them ahead of potentially is Silver Key, but we'll get into Silver Key in a second. Obviously, your team, Jeff. But once Dima came back, you guys have this other energy that I'm seeing in you from last season, which I think you came in the 2 seed in the regular season. The
Mhm.
feistiness, the shooting, the guarding, the running. It's just tremendous energy out of you guys that I just saw revived, and we'll get to it. The Vly team, we'll see how often this kid plays. I forget his name. Um,
Charlie Sasson.
Charlie Sassoon, stud 12th graders in high school, so I don't know how often he'll play. Maybe, hopefully, he will qualify for their sake. Of course, Jack and Noah down low are still arguably the most dangerous combo down low from any team. But Khalili's only showed up to one game. Zabrowski's rolling in late to some games. Again, it's a roster thing with them, and we'll see how it plays out. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
I think it's more than last. I think it's a chemistry thing with them. I think that they also lack something. Even from last season, they don't have a point guard. They don't have somebody who could just bring up the ball and generate. Most teams in this league don't have even for Rides to Fly, Yusra Wasser, or even the guy Montana,
Montana,
the new,
Yuri Montana, yeah.
yeah, him. MS Motors, they added what's his name, Warsaw, who can
Warsaw
generate
played
the.
again. The guy is such a Russell Westbrook, by the
So
way.
yeah, he's a great ball player.
Yeah.
Navas Wiggs, Elot controls that offense. You need that guy who could just move the ball, and I think that's essentially what's going to hurt Villi this season because the league is much deeper. They're not just going to bully teams anymore. Jack and Noah, good ball players, but you're not going to. Every team basically added that size to prepare for Jack and Noah. My team included. I'm sure you. What do you got us at 4 right now?
Yeah, I have you guys at 4.
Respectfully, yeah, we lost to MS and Nava and Rise are undefeated. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's fair.
We really have no choice to the top 4. 4, I have Silver Key. Obviously, you guys got revived by the Dima pickup. You are 4-1. So the debate is real because MS Motors, as dominant as they've been, they're 3-2 right now. So they're 3-2. So you guys had the better record.
The question is, would MS Motors beat us if we had Dima in the Kindle?
That's a good question. I guess I would have to answer yes based on my rankings, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a close game. I think they beat us by like 11 or something, but that was a late game.
They lose
They
by
pulled away.
9, 60-51.
Yeah, and they pulled away at the end on us.
Yeah, and that was before Dima joined. So we'll see what happens. I think it's very close. I think it could go either way. And then same with 1 and 2. Obviously Rides to Fly is 4-0. I had them at number 2. They had that. They beat Vly in a blowout earlier in the season. They've blown out every team they played. They have not won a game except for the forfeit they took. All their wins came by 29 points, by 20 points or more. 20,
Hmm.
50, and 29. Now Wasser's leaving. I don't know if Winter will be eligible. It's a very big wild card. If Winter's not eligible and Wasser leaves, they do have Jeremy, who's Montana, who's a very solid point guard. He's a good player, but like Wasser is such a big piece of that team. Like I don't see how they'd really get out of the second round. Maybe the first round they win it against this
Put it this way:
really,
they
really.
need the buy because if they don't get the buy in the two, they would end up playing a Jay Z Couture or
A cheese
or a cheese
store,
store in the first round.
First Army and Financial, possibly even, yeah, they'd be stuck with a very tough matchup. And again, I really think it comes down to them whether Winter's going to be eligible or not. So we'll see.
Well,
Uh,
they play each other. I think next week or something. Navas versus Rights to Fly. I think
yeah,
we have the matchup.
they're a very big game. I'm very pumped for that game. Yes, they play each other next week. It should be a huge matchup. And coming at 1 is Nava Wigs. Again, we had the HS. Our
Until they lose,
yeah,
they're up there.
yeah. And also like they just win these big games, man. They show up. Mrs. Nava Wigs herself, Mrs. Quintal, was in the building, and they made their sponsor proud last night. It was a huge, not whatever. Last week, it was the best game HL's ever seen in the regular season. Maybe The
Hmm.
intensity was there. The gym was packed. The guys would not leave the game before. It was so back and forth. Even the guys coming up, like Tuvia Blisco was playing next for crowd. He's like, I'm like, Tuvia, I apologize. It was 10:45 or in double overtime. I was like, no, no, no. This is way better than us playing. Like, this is amazing. So it was just awesome atmosphere. And, until they lose, until they don't win a championship, like, it's hard to move them out of one unless they have some complete disaster in the standing. So I think overall makes a lot of sense. We have 4 more games tonight. We got 2 games tomorrow night, 2 games Wednesday night. We have 4 more games Thursday night. We're going full steam ahead right into Passover.
And
So,
I think we have 5 Sunday night or 6
oh
Sunday
yeah, and
night.
then Sunday we have 6 games Sunday, 3 on Wednesday, and then 4 more next Thursday. There's a lot of basketball, which is great. It happens we have 24 teams, and the what do they say? Sky's the limit. It's we're at our max right now with this gym, but like I said, if we need to, we'll get another gym in Queens. We can do home and away games. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. It's halfway through the season. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of hype. I know, Jeff, you're on the podcast and you're not really in this world, but for all the people who are softball guys watching this, playing in our basketball league, we cannot wait for opening day, Sunday morning, for our spring softball league. We're going to have a podcast previewing that later this week. Our night softball league, sponsored by Town Appliance, is starting after Pesach. We have a super exciting announcement for our night softball, all of our softball players. Basketball we give a lot of love to, but we have a very exciting gift for all of our softball players, basketball players. We hope to be able to give you that same gift. Unfortunately, we weren't given the means to do it for basketball and softball, but hopefully eventually we will. Jeff doesn't know what I'm talking about yet. He'll find out when we post the announcement soon. I got to do it strategically at the right time so I don't get attacked by all these basketball guys. But I will announce it very soon. Some people do know about it already, so we're very excited. But yeah, it's halfway through the season. I don't think we could have asked for anything better. Jeff, any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts tonight. I think I gave my lines. What were the lines tonight I had? What are the games again? The first
Uh,
game is
you had some. Where'd you put it on the players chat? I'll pull it up right now. Jeff's lines. So for Jeff, here's the prediction. Let's see how accurate Jeff's gonna be before we sign off. Jeff has rides to fly. Do you move up their line if what's face is not playing? Because I doubt he's
if
playing.
Ivry, I'll give it to the minus 11
So
and a half.
rides to fly minus 11.5.
If
Nava
Ivry doesn't come,
if and minus 9.5 if he does. Nava Wigs minus 22.5 over Twillery. I think that's low.
I'm being
Biggie
generous.
Meats, now that you have your 2 regulars, what are you gonna put him? What are you gonna put you guys at?
Well, Ariel again, a game time decision. If he shows up, he shows up. Right now where we at? I said minus 3.5 with Sam.
Yeah.
So if Ariel shows up, we'll take a minus 5.5.
Minus 5.5 for Biggie Meats. I think also very low. And then Gordon Company's All Bank. That's gonna be a great matchup. Possibly the matchup of the night. Probably the most
Yeah,
competitive game.
that will swap you. That will figure out your 6-5s in your power rankings right
That
there.
will be Gordon Company's minus 2.5 for All Bank. All right. Well, there it is. The highly anticipated Power Rankings is out. Now let's see when Double Gottlieb will release it. Hopefully, he'll get it out today before the games. What a cute kid. I want to squeeze his cheeks. Hi, buddy. Say bye. Say bye, everybody. Wave. Say wave bye.
Wait, say that's right. We don't talk to Ashki people.
With that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for coming on, Jeff. Thanks for
Take it easy, Avi. You take care.
see you guys. See you later. Bye.
Bye.